Hey super scientists, we're looking at Geo6 and we're going to be talking about the geologic timescale. The geologic timescale is basically a big timeline of Earth's history. It records important events and also different life forms that live throughout Earth's history. So we're going to be talking about the structure of that and introducing some of those different eras and periods. So, two terms, an era and period. These are different divisions of geologic time. So this is one of my favorite images of a geologic timescale. I actually have this on a t-shirt, in case you were wondering. So this is showing us the different eras, which are these larger scale time frames. So we have Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic era as three of our primary eras. We also have Precambrian time, which is represented down here. But it's a little bit different. It's a huge amount of time broken down into some eons. And that's just because it's such a huge amount of time. It takes about 88% of Earth's history. And then a period is going to be smaller subdivisions of time. And so, for example, in the Mesozoic era, we have three periods. We have Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. So those are just some of the different time frames that that the geologic timescale is broken down into. Another term that we're going to talk about just a little bit is mass extinction. So we know that extinct means that something is no longer living, and it's specifically referring to a species no longer being alive. So if we have a mass extinction, then that means there's a large number of species, a lot of different species that die in a short period of time. So it really limits the biodiversity in a particular habitat. So in looking at the geologic timescale, the geologic timescale is the timeline of Earth's history and is how geologists, how scientists are going to represent the important things that happen throughout Earth's history. And this is based on the knowledge that scientists have gathered from fossil evidence. So we're going to be starting out with our most recent era, looking at this example here. So the Cenozoic era is the current era that we live in. It's present day time. And it extends back to about 66 million years. Prior to that was the Mesozoic era, so this is when dinosaurs lived. And then the one prior to the Mesozoic is the Paleozoic. Paleo means ancient. So the Paleozoic era, you can see, is broken down into several periods. And before that was Precambrian time, and that stretches back all the way 4.6 billion years to the beginning of the Earth. So as scientists study the fossil record, they uncover evidence that shows that life forms have changed. For example, the Cenozoic era, there are no fossils, there are no living dinosaurs. No fossils of dinosaurs, no living dinosaurs, so scientists know that dinosaurs did not live in the Cenozoic. So dinosaurs died about 65, 66 million years ago, right here, the KT boundary, the Cretaceous Tertiary boundary. And so this little bye-bye dinosaurs, this is mass extinction that killed a lot of species, including dinosaurs, but other species as well. And so that's kind of a marker that scientists use that one era has ended, the Mesozoic has ended, and the Cenozoic era is starting. So we're going to look at this little flowchart showing us the organization of the geologic timescale. So it starts off with the Precambrian time, so that's the beginning of the Earth. And again, that takes up about 88% of Earth's history, Precambrian time does. And then the Paleozoic era is next. So the Paleozoic era starts out with the Cambrian period, the Ordovician period, the Silurian period, Devonian period, and the Carboniferous period, and the Permian. So the Permian period is going to be the last period in the Paleozoic era. So all of these, after Precambrian time, those are all in the Paleozoic era, and then it's subdivided into these periods. Next is the Mesozoic era. So at the end of the Paleozoic era is a mass extinction, and scientists don't completely agree on what happened at that point in time to cause mass extinction to take place, but there have been multiple mass extinctions throughout Earth's history, some of them more severe than others. So the Mesozoic era is next, starting with the Triassic period, the Jurassic period, and the Cretaceous period. So those are the three periods within the Mesozoic. This Mesozoic era ends with the mass extinction that includes the dinosaurs. And then we have the Cenozoic era, which again is our current era. It's broken into the Tertiary and the quaternary. So the quaternary would be the current period that we are in right now.